The academy classroom was built from cold silver metal and dark stone. Wide windows showed the stars outside, slowly drifting past. Rows of seats rose in steps, filled with cadets from many worlds. Some had thick skin, some had glowing eyes, some had sharp teeth. Their uniforms were different in shape, but all carried the same symbol of the Interstellar Combat Academy. At the very back of the room sat one human cadet. His name was Evan. He was not tall compared to most aliens. His body looked thin, almost weak. His brown uniform fit simply, without extra armor or marks. He sat straight, hands on his knees, eyes forward. He did not speak to anyone. Humans were rare here. Many cadets had never seen one before. Some whispered when they noticed Evan. Some laughed quietly. Others looked at him with open doubt. The instructor entered the room with heavy steps. He was a large being with stone-like skin and 4 thick arms. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the class. "Today we discuss physical limits," he said. "Every species has a breaking point. Strength, speed, pain tolerance. Know yours or you will fail." Images appeared in the air. Charts showed muscle density, bone strength, reaction time. Many aliens watched with pride as their species ranked high. Then a human symbol appeared. Low strength, the instructor said calmly. Fragile bone structure, limited endurance, slow recovery. Soft laughter spread through the room. Evan stayed silent. A tall alien cadet in the front row turned around. His skin was blue and smooth, his eyes narrow and sharp. He smiled. "So that is the human," he said loudly. "I thought they would be taller." More laughter followed. Another cadet added, "Why train with glass soldiers?" The instructor did not stop them. He only continued the lesson. "Humans rely on tools and machines," he said. "Without them they are weak." Evan felt the words but did not react. He had heard worse during his first weeks here. He focused on breathing, slow and steady, just like his training taught him. The lesson ended. Cadets stood up, gathering their gear. Groups formed quickly. Aliens talked, laughed, and left together. Evan waited until most had gone. He stood and walked toward the exit. The door did not open. He stopped. Footsteps echoed behind him. 5 alien cadets stood between him and the door. The blue-skinned one stepped forward. He was broad, strong, and confident. "Where are you going, human?" he asked. Evan looked at him calmly. "To my dorm." The alien laughed. "Not yet. We want to see something." Another cadet circled Evan slowly. "You sit there like you are not afraid. Do humans not feel fear?" Evan said nothing. That silence annoyed them. The blue alien moved closer. "Prove your place here. One move. Show us what humans can do." Evan shook his head. "I do not want trouble." That answer angered them more. "Trouble found you," the alien said. He pushed Evan in the chest. Evan stepped back but did not fall. Some cadets who had not left stopped to watch. Whispers filled the room. The instructor was gone. No authority remained. The blue alien pushed again, harder. Evan looked up. His eyes were calm, but something behind them had changed. "Please move," Evan said quietly. The alien laughed and raised his fist. That was when the classroom lights shifted from white to red. A warning sound echoed. "Combat detected," the academy system announced. The doors sealed shut with a heavy sound. Gasps filled the room. The blue alien froze for a moment. Then he smiled wider. "Looks like you cannot run now, human." He threw the first punch. Evan moved. He did not strike back. He stepped aside, letting the heavy fist pass. The alien lost balance for half a second. Evan used that moment to push him away. The alien stumbled, shocked. The others rushed in. Fists, claws, and tails came at Evan from all sides. Evan moved like water. He bent, turned, stepped, and ducked. He avoided hits by small movements. No wasted motion. A claw brushed his shoulder. He ignored the pain. One alien slipped and crashed into a desk. The room filled with chaos. Cadets shouted. Some cheered. Some backed away in fear. Evan's breathing stayed steady. He blocked a strike and twisted his body, using the attacker's force against him. The alien fell hard, hitting the floor head first. Silence hit for a heartbeat. Then panic. That one did not get up. The blue alien roared in anger and charged again. Evan's eyes followed him. This time Evan stepped forward. The story did not end there, it had only begun. The blue alien crashed into the floor with a heavy thud. The room went silent for a moment. All eyes were on Evan. His chest rose and fell slowly. His face showed no anger, no fear, only focus. The other aliens hesitated. They had expected an easy fight. They had thought the human would fall after the first strike, but he did not even sweat. One of the aliens, taller than the others, lunged. His arms were long and his claws sharp. He thought he could take Evan with one swipe. Evan stepped back, letting the attack pass. Then, with a quick movement, he tripped the alien using the attacker's own momentum. The tall alien fell hard, groaning. A third alien tried to hit from the side. Evan turned and caught the alien's arm, twisting it gently but firmly. The alien could not free himself and fell to the floor. Panic started in his glowing eyes. The remaining aliens realized they were not prepared. Their confidence cracked. They were used to being stronger than their opponents. They did not know a human could move like this. One alien with skin that looked like liquid gold shouted, "You are lucky this room has limits. If we were outside, we would crush you." Evan did not speak. He moved again, sidestepping a kick and knocking another alien down. Each move was careful, measured. He avoided unnecessary force. Still, the impact of his blocks and trips made the aliens crash to the ground, some stunned, some unconscious. The classroom shook with every fall. Chairs toppled, metal clanged, and the remaining cadets who were watching gasped and shouted. They could not believe what they were seeing. A single human was taking down 10 aliens. One alien tried to charge together with another. They thought teamwork could overpower him. Evan watched their steps, read their intentions like a book. He twisted between them, avoiding their combined attack. In one swift motion, he caused them to collide with each other. Both fell, groaning, unable to continue. The blue alien got up, his pride injured. He wiped blood from a small cut and snarled, "You will pay for this." Evan stood calmly. His breathing was steady. His eyes never left the blue alien. The blue alien charged like a wild animal. This time Evan met him head-on. He blocked a punch with both hands. The force pushed him back, but he stayed on his feet. Then he stepped sideways, letting the alien's momentum carry him forward. The alien stumbled and hit the edge of a desk. Stars swirled in his vision and he collapsed. Other cadets were now frozen. Some of the aliens who had mocked humans earlier were pale. The idea of human weakness was gone. Fear had replaced their arrogance. Evan did not attack further. He only defended and used careful moves to stop them. But the aliens could not continue fighting. They fell one by one, until 10 were down, their energy drained, their bodies bruised, their pride shattered. The room was quiet except for heavy breathing and groans. The air smelled of sweat and metal. Dust from broken chairs floated in the light. Everyone stared at the human in disbelief. The instructor's voice finally came through the speakers. It was calm but firm. Combat detected. Fight concluded. Safety protocols activated. Security doors opened. Robots and armed instructors rushed inside. They quickly moved to separate the cadets and assess injuries. Evan stood in the middle of the room, his uniform scratched but clean enough. He raised his hand slightly, showing he was not a threat. The aliens who had attacked him were being helped to their feet or carried away. The instructors whispered among themselves. The footage from the room was already streaming to the Academy Council. They had not expected a human to perform like this. They had not expected him to take 10 aliens down without losing control. One officer approached Evan cautiously. "Your combat efficiency is extraordinary. Are you trained specifically for this?" He did not sound angry, he sounded curious. Evan nodded once. "I was trained on Earth." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Earth training is unusual. Very few humans have it. You may have broken more than bones here today." Evan said nothing. He only followed the officers to a quiet room. The other cadets stared as he walked past. Some whispered words of respect, some whispered words of fear. The injured aliens were treated in the medical wing. Some were angry, some were confused. They had expected an easy fight. They had expected to humiliate the human. Instead, they were humiliated and unconscious. Rumors spread quickly through the Academy network. Clips of Evan moving, dodging, and countering went viral. Cadets watched over and over, trying to understand how a human could move so efficiently. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Others felt a strange respect. The part of the day that was supposed to be ordinary had become legendary. Evan had not sought the fight. He had only defended himself. Yet he had proven humans were not weak. He had proven humans could stand among the galaxy's strongest. Later, alone in the quiet room, Evan leaned against the wall. His breathing slowed. He thought about the fight. He did not feel pride or joy. He only felt calm. He had done what he needed to survive. What came next would be different. The Academy would not see him the same way again. Aliens would watch. The officers would watch. The Academy rules might even change because of him. The part ended with Evan closing his eyes for a brief moment. He knew that this was only the beginning. What happened in that classroom would ripple across the Academy. Humans would be tested more. Aliens would try harder. And the next time the fight might not be so simple. But Evan was ready. He had faced 10 aliens and remained standing. The universe was about to see more of what humans could do. Evan sat alone in a quiet room. The door was thick and metal. Outside, he could hear faint voices and footsteps, but inside it was calm. He leaned back and closed his eyes. He had faced 10 aliens and stayed standing. He knew the Academy would not forget this. Moments later, the door opened. 2 officers entered. They were tall, serious, and wore long coats with many badges. One of them had a voice that felt like it could shake stone. The other's eyes glowed faintly. They did not speak first. They only looked at Evan. The first officer finally spoke. "Your combat efficiency exceeds Academy expectations. Explain how you accomplished this." Evan stayed calm. "I was trained on Earth. That is all." The second officer nodded slightly. "Earth training is unusual. Very few humans reach this level. You were able to disable 10 aliens without causing fatal injuries." Evan nodded. "I did what I had to." The officers shared a look. Then the first officer said, "We need to review all your records. It seems the Academy underestimated humans." Evan did not answer. He knew the fight would be studied for months, maybe years. He had survived and shown strength, but he also knew the other cadets would react. Some would fear him. Some would try to challenge him next. This was only the start. Meanwhile, in the medical wing, the aliens who had attacked Evan were being treated. Their pride was more damaged than their bodies. Some glared at anyone who looked at them. Others whispered nervously. The idea that humans were weak had disappeared. One alien with green scales shook his head. "I cannot believe it. 10 of us, and he dropped us like toys." Another whispered, "We underestimated him. We should have known better." The incident spread through the Academy faster than any lesson or announcement. Hollow screens displayed the fight in real time. Cadets watched and replayed it, trying to understand what had happened. The human had moved with control, speed, and precision. He did not rage. He did not panic. He was calm, and that made him deadly. The instructor who had led the original classroom lesson was summoned by the council. He watched the footage and frowned. He had seen many species in combat, many ways of fighting, but humans were different. Quiet, calculated, efficient. They did not rely on brute force. They relied on skill. Later, Evan was allowed to leave the room. Officers walked beside him as he returned to the main academy. Other cadets turned to look at him. Some whispered. Some bowed slightly in respect. A few glared, still angry at being defeated by a human. Evan did not acknowledge anyone. He walked calmly, head straight, eyes forward. The hallway seemed wider now. He had changed. The academy had changed. The fight had made humans visible, no longer the weak species everyone mocked. In a private meeting room, academy leaders watched the fight again. They argued quietly. Some believed humans should be removed from training, fearing their hidden strength could disrupt discipline. Others argued that humans showed discipline and control, qualities that could benefit all cadets. One leader finally said, "This is not a single event. Humans may be rare, but they are not weak. We must adjust our training and our rules." Back in the dormitory area, Evan entered his room. He unpacked his bag slowly. He thought about the fight. He did not feel pride, only focus. He knew the next days would be different. Aliens who mocked humans would now watch him. Some would respect him. Some would seek revenge. He sat on his bed and looked at the small data pad beside him. Messages from cadets, some friendly, some challenging, filled it. Evan read quietly, taking note of the tone and the intention behind each one. He understood that survival here meant more than strength. It meant understanding, predicting, and acting. That night, he trained quietly in his room. His movements were slow, deliberate, precise. He imagined attacks from every angle. He practiced evading, countering, and controlling his opponents without using unnecessary force. He did not need to be loud or showy. He needed to be ready. The next morning, the academy was buzzing. News of the fight had spread to every corner. Instructors spoke to cadets about human capability. Aliens who had doubted humans now watched them carefully. Some avoided confrontation. Others were plotting their next challenge. Evan entered the dining hall. Eyes followed him. Some whispered, some stayed silent. He did not react. He walked to an empty table, sat, and ate calmly. Even in simple acts, his presence was different. Humans were no longer background. They were a force to be acknowledged. During the midday assembly, the commander of the academy addressed the cadets. He spoke about discipline, control, and the importance of understanding strength in all species. Without mentioning Evan by name, he told everyone to respect all cadets, including humans. The room was tense, but the message was clear. Later, Evan was summoned to a private evaluation room. There, he met officers who asked him questions about his training, his methods, and his thoughts on interspecies combat. He answered briefly, clearly, and honestly. They noted his control and focus, understanding that humans were rare but could be a model for other cadets. Outside, other cadets were talking. Some expressed disbelief. Some expressed respect. Others quietly plotted to test him again. The academy had shifted in tone. The old assumptions were gone. Humans were now a factor everyone had to consider. Evan returned to his dormitory, knowing the events of the classroom fight would not be forgotten. He thought about the next challenge. The academy had changed. Other cadets had changed. Even the rules might change. But he was ready. He had faced 10 aliens, stayed calm, and survived. The universe was watching, and humans had begun to make their mark. The morning was quiet, but the academy felt different. Cadets moved with extra caution, eyes watching Evan wherever he went. The humans were rare, and after the classroom fight, everyone noticed them. Some whispered respect, others whispered challenges. Evan walked to the training grounds. The sun, or what passed for sun in the academy, reflected off the metal floors. He stretched carefully, preparing for the special trial announced yesterday. The academy wanted to see if the human strength and skill were real or just luck. Other cadets arrived, stretching, practicing, talking quietly. They were from many species. Some were taller than buildings, some had wings, others had sharp claws or tails. They looked at Evan differently now. Fear, respect, or curiosity flashed in their eyes. The instructor stepped forward. Today's trial will test your skill, control, and strategy. Volunteers will face each cadet, including the human, fight without deadly force, show discipline and strength. Any violation will end your training immediately. A group of aliens volunteered. They circled the training ground. Their movements were confident but cautious. They had watched the classroom fight. They remembered how Evan had moved. They had learned that underestimating him could be dangerous. The first opponent, a red-scaled alien with sharp talons, approached. He rushed forward with speed, striking with claws. Evan moved smoothly, stepping aside, letting the alien pass and redirecting his momentum. The alien stumbled, barely avoiding a fall. Evan did not strike again, only controlled the attack. The alien realized the human did not need brute strength to be effective. Next came a winged alien. He tried to fly above Evan, swooping down to attack. Evan anticipated, moved in a pattern the alien could not predict. The winged cadet landed awkwardly, frustrated. Others watched carefully, learning how a human's calm and speed could defeat even the fastest species. One by one, the volunteers approached. Evan faced them all without rage or excitement. His movements were precise, avoiding serious harm but showing control and skill. Each alien tried their best, but the results were the same. They struggled to touch him. He redirected them, blocked their attacks, and maintained balance. The crowd of cadets grew quiet. They had expected a show of force, but they saw discipline. They saw humans were not just strong, they were controlled, patient, and clever. After the trial, instructors took notes, analyzing every movement. They whispered among themselves, noting how unusual a human's training was. Most cadets had grown up with instinctive combat, raw strength, and aggression. Evan had something different: strategy, focus, and calm. Outside the training area, some alien cadets gathered. They talked in low voices. Some were angry. They wanted revenge for the classroom fight. Others were nervous. The idea that humans were fragile had been shattered. Now, humans were a potential threat. Some even feared being alone with one in combat. Evan returned to his dormitory. He did not celebrate or talk. He unpacked his training gear and examined his body. No injuries, no pain beyond minor scratches. He had done what was necessary, and he had done it without losing control. That was what mattered. During the evening, officers called him to a private meeting. They asked about his training methods, what he had learned from Earth, and how humans could teach others discipline and skill. Evan explained briefly, carefully. He knew this knowledge was valuable and dangerous. He only revealed what was necessary. Meanwhile, rumors circulated about a hidden group planning to remove humans from the academy. Extremist aliens feared the rise of humans among cadets. They whispered and plotted, believing that humans' unexpected strength would upset the balance of the academy. Evan sensed the tension, even without knowing the full details. He knew the next challenge might not be voluntary. He trained again that night, moving with precision, imagining attacks from every species. His focus was calm, his mind steady, his body prepared. The next day, cadets watched him with a mix of respect and suspicion. He walked among them, silent, observing, calculating. Humans were no longer invisible. Every move he made reminded them of the classroom fight, the trial, and the skill he displayed. Even the instructors treated him differently, noting his presence as a factor in every lesson and decision. Evan understood one thing clearly: survival here meant more than strength. It meant strategy, observation, and calm control. He had proven humans could compete, even thrive. But others would test him. Aliens who doubted him before would try again. The academy was changing, the cadets were changing, and humans were no longer just a small species. They were a presence that could not be ignored. That night, Evan sat quietly, looking out at the stars visible through the wide academy windows. He felt calm, ready, and aware. The classroom fight and the trial had shown him what humans could do. Now, he had to be ready for what came next. The next challenge might not be controlled, and not everyone would play by the rules. But he was prepared. The galaxy had begun to see humans differently, and Evan would make sure they did not forget it. Night fell over the academy. The halls were mostly quiet, but an alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed. A warning voice echoed, "Intruder attack detected. All cadets remain in place. Emergency protocols active." Evan woke immediately. He had sensed tension before, but now it was real. He grabbed his gear and ran toward the source of the alarm. Other cadets were panicked. Instructors shouted orders, but the situation was chaotic. Some doors had locked automatically. Some corridors were blocked. A group of extremist aliens had entered the academy. They were heavily armed, their faces twisted with anger at the humans. Their plan was to remove humans before they could rise in influence among the cadets. The intruders moved quickly, attacking anyone in their path. Evan ran, scanning the corridors. He calculated the intruders' movements, predicting where they would strike next. He did not charge blindly. He moved with control, precision, and awareness. A cadet who had fought him before tried to run past him, but Evan stopped them gently, guiding them to safety. The first extremist alien swung a weapon at a group of cadets. Evan stepped in front, blocking the strike with a calculated movement. The force knocked him back slightly, but he stayed on his feet. He used the aliens' momentum against them, sending the intruder crashing into a wall. The intruder groaned but was not defeated. Other cadets watched, some in fear, some in awe. They had never seen a human move so fast and with such control. They began to follow Evan's lead, moving with him to protect the weaker cadets. The battle spread through the academy. Intruders attacked classrooms, halls, and training areas. Evan guided groups to safety, fought off attackers, and avoided unnecessary harm. He disarmed, redirected, and controlled every encounter. One intruder tried to attack from above, leaping from a balcony. Evan anticipated the move, sidestepped, and the intruder crashed to the floor. Another intruder charged with brute strength. Evan caught the attack, twisted the momentum, and sent the alien sliding across the hall, incapacitated but alive. The instructors regrouped, inspired by Evan's actions. They coordinated with him, following his lead. Even cadets who had feared humans now fought beside him. A team formed, combining strength, skill, and strategy. The extremists realized they were facing more than individual humans. They were facing strategy, coordination, and the calm efficiency of a human cadet who had survived 10 attackers before. Fear replaced arrogance in their eyes. Hours passed. The corridors were filled with debris, overturned furniture, and signs of struggle. Yet the human-led teams controlled the situation, protecting the academy and its cadets. Finally, the last of the intruders was subdued. Some were restrained by instructors, others fled. The alarm stopped. Red lights turned off. Silence returned, heavy and tense. The cadets gathered. They looked around at the destruction, at the exhausted but standing human, and at each other. No words were needed. Respect had been earned. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were a force, a presence that demanded recognition. Evan stood among the cadets, his uniform scratched but intact. He had not sought glory, only survival and protection. Cadets who had mocked him now bowed slightly, acknowledging his skill and leadership. Instructors nodded, understanding that humans could teach lessons in discipline, control, and courage. The academy commander addressed everyone the next morning. He praised the cadets who fought, but singled out the human for exceptional leadership and calm under pressure. He declared that humans would have a recognized place in training and strategy discussions, no longer underestimated or ignored. Evan returned to his dormitory. He did not feel pride. He only felt readiness. The battle had shown him what humans could do, but it also showed the challenges ahead. Other cadets, other species, and perhaps other threats would come. The academy would continue to test him, to test humans, but he was ready. He looked out at the stars again. They shone bright, distant, and endless. He understood that this was only the beginning of humanity's rise. Humans would be counted. humans would be respected, and humans would survive wherever the galaxy tested them. And Evan, calm, focused, and prepared, would lead the way.